What is going on, Summoners? My name is Nathan Ding, and we're going to be looking at the 10 most broken abilities in the game. While some of these champions have harder hitting spells within their kits, the sheer amount of utility and versatility that these abilities provide make them both extremely annoying and powerful when you're versing against them. Starting us off strong, we gotta talk about Ashe's Hawkshot ability. If there's one spell that's extremely underrated yet overpowered, it would have to be this one. Not only is it free to cast, but it also can hold 2 charges that allows you to walk your team into dangerous zones in the mid to late game. Besides its obvious power for giving your team a massive blue trinket, since it's one of the few global abilities left in the game, you can easily expose the enemy jungler with the possible gank path as early as level 2. All you have to do is position near the enemy turret or sit in the alcove and aim down the enemy jungler as you prepare to expose what camps they've taken as well as where they're going to be headed next. While it may not do damage, the ability is seriously one that you should keep in mind the next time you play Ashe, since it provides so much utility for literally no cost besides a moderate cooldown. Next up, we've got the jungler that is probably the most hated after Hecarim and Udyr, Graves. Graves has always made his position known in the meta by being able to pull off a 3-quad strategy, where he's able to full clear not only his jungle, but the enemies as well. This can lead to Graves hitting a massive lead and one-tapping champions at melee range. However, that's not what we'll be focusing on. For all the mages and ADC mains, you know his most broken ability is his smokescreen. Being a quite literal blind, you're not able to react to anything the enemy throws at you. And while you can't really deal damage since you can't target anybody, on top of that, you're slowed. While an argument can be made that Graves' passive is extremely busted, well, it is powerful, but it takes a bit to charge up and only a really good Graves will be able to keep it stacked properly. Alongside this, his armor buff doesn't really stop you from being able to play the game in the same way that smokescreen does. If your main job is to right-click the champions, this ability is your worst nightmare. While he may not be one of the best supports anymore, we can never forget how powerful Braum was when he's one of the strongest supports in the game, especially when paired with Lucian. Besides his high base damage and his amazing kit, his E offers a lot of protection as he becomes essentially a walking wind wall, but one thing that people seem to always undervalue is his amazing passive. With his passive, in the middle of a fight, Braum is able to CC the enemy just by autoing them. With enough focus, he can constantly refresh his passive on multiple targets while also feeling for his team with his shield and his ultimate. Overall, his passive offers literally free CC as there will always almost be somebody auto-attacking the enemy team during a team fight. Before we move on to our next champion ability, let's quickly cover our question of the day. With League undergoing so many changes, we wanted to know, what's one champion rework that you wish you could revert? Well, I do not wish it was permanent. I do miss playing the old Katarina because it was a ton of fun. Let us know your answers in the comments down below. Nonetheless, let's hop back into the video. Hooking us back into our list, we've got the Chain Warden himself, THRESH. THRESH has always been known for his amazing versatility as a champion. Whether it's pick potential, frontline, or general peel, he's got you covered in every possible way. His extremely unique kit makes him one of the best supports in the game and one that offers a ton of skill expression. That being said, it's strange that no one really talks about how powerful his lantern is as an ability. Sure, it gives a shield or whatever, but the fact that you can drag an ally away at a moment's notice is absolutely crazy. If he ever thinks the enemy jungler is looking to gank his lane, he can simply stand at max range from his ADC, and if danger appears, he can go ahead and toss out his lantern and yoink his carry to safety. It has a moderately long cooldown, but it doesn't matter when you can easily disengage a fight, even if it's over a wall. Not just that, but not too long ago, there's a meta where you just max it for the shield. This means when paired with Guardian, not only do you get a free escape, but you also get a massive shield to help you out early on. Overall, it's a super good ability that a lot of people don't give a lot of credit to, mainly because we keep forgetting to click the lantern. Next up, we got Jax. This split-pushing mastermind has always had people complaining about his kit and his overall power as a champion. However, if there's one thing that people always think about when they think of Jax, it has to be his E, Counter-Strike. This ability not only allows him to dodge auto attacks and avoid their damage, but it also deals a decent chunk of damage to those around him. Alongside this, its cooldown is extremely low later on into the game and can only leave you with a few seconds to get auto attacks in. This is before you can start helicoptering again. You know what they say, to impress a chick, helicopter stick. Overall, it's a super strong ability that definitely annoys a lot of League players, unless you're a mage main, of course. Next up, we've got the Wandering Caretaker, Bard. While Bard doesn't fulfill much of the traditional support role, his extremely unique kit is what makes him so much fun and such a versatile carry. Whether it's his ability to provide lane sustain, high damage output, or constant roams, Bard is a support that can almost do it all. But if there was one thing that really made him stand out, it would be his ultimate. His ultimate not only allows you to freeze turrets for dives or force objectives into stasis so your team can go ahead and move in, but it's one of the best tools for looking to pick out immobile carries in the mid to late game. If they lack mobility spells and don't have flash, you can often just cast it on top of them and portal your entire team through. It's extremely underestimated and mostly seen as a troll tool, but it really does carry a lot of potential to win games. We brought up the funnel strategy plenty of times in our previous videos, but this time we've only got the main star of the show, Yi. Known for its extremely high snowball potential, Yi offers teams with a lot of damage and hypercarry potential just because of the way his kit is structured. Sure, some people may put a lot of value in his W and how it can reduce damage if used correctly, but his true power is in his Q. Not only does it deal a decent amount of damage during Alpha Strike, but he also becomes untargetable and its cooldown is reduced through auto attacks. With enough ability haste and attack speed, he's incredibly hard to stop during a team fight as he'll be constantly invulnerable. This is what tends to make Yi fairly hard to deal with alongside his already high damage. Before we move on to talk about the new champion GWEN, don't forget to check us out at ProGuides.com. With ProGuides, you can get your rank grind to the next level and stay up to date on courses made by your favorite pro players. And if that's not your thing, you can get in contact with your challenger coach to help take your game up a notch. If you've never tried ProGuides before, don't be afraid to check us out. Hopping back into the video, we're going to be looking at Riot's newest champion. GWEN has seen little success recently, whether it's due to her kit being weak or if it's just because players don't know how to play her, we're not completely certain. But what we are certain about is that her W was good enough to land her on this list because of how absurdly good it is. While many people may just be thinking you could just walk into the circle and damage her, well, yes, but think about why Xin Zhao's ultimate is so good. Versus carries that outrange you, in a teamfight you're able to single out an enemy champion and ignore damage, thus letting you tear apart their front line. Alongside with being invulnerable to damage outside the circle, you gain additional defenses, which means it's a good spell to cast for fights even if nobody's around. Overall, it's a neat ability that, in the right hands, can be pretty devastating. Next up, we've got a mid laner that a lot of pro players slowly fell in love with, YONE. YONE is often referred as Yasuo 2.0 and for a decent reason. Both scale the same way with crit and have similar Qs. However, Yone has the advantage of being far closer to an assassin than a fighter when he needs to be. His ability to dash an incredible large distance allows him to be a threat to enemy carries from a screen away. His E is pretty much a smaller and weaker Zettel that allows him to dash into the enemy lines, dealing damage when he wants to, and then suddenly disappearing back behind his team all in a moment's notice. Alongside its high damage output, his E is just a great tool for stalling out fights and diving the enemy. However, just be careful that you don't try to use it as an escape tool, or you're going to be really disappointed when you get pulled back to your ghost form and the enemy is waiting for you. Last but certainly not least, we've got the most hated fish assassin, FIZZ. FIZZ has always had a strong spot in the meta due to his incredibly high power when put in the right hands. While he's rarely in the S+ tier when it comes to mid lane, he's often a great answer to meta carries and can often swiftly one-shot the enemy before escaping without a scratch. If you think Silas' Russian cooldown reduction for his W spam was annoying, just wait until you run into FIZZ with a ton of ability haste. If he ever mispositions or finds himself in the middle of the enemy team, he can easily Q through one of them and use his E invulnerability to simply hop away. Not only does he gain invulnerability during this cast time, but his low cooldown has pretty high damage, which means if he decides not to run away from you, you need to be sure that you're not in his path when he falls on his staff. Oh yeah, did we mention that he can hop over walls with this as well? Overall, FIZZ's E is really an annoying ability to play against and allows him to play extremely risky if he can hold his E for as long as possible, press Zhonya's, and then solve for his E again. If you ever run into a good FIZZ, I sure hope that you're not an ADC main, or this fish is slowly going to make his way into our permaban. Nonetheless, that sums up our video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to join our ProGuides family at ProGuides.com or through our Discord with the link down below. I'll definitely be there to hang out, so go ahead and hit me up. We offer exclusive giveaways and classes that you won't catch anywhere else, so stay tuned and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, and have a wonderful day. Peace.